Hello and welcome to our Story 555 project. I'm very happy and honored to open a new ChainList named Science and Consciousness, where we are going to explore the connection between science and consciousness, if at all. So for our very first program in this ChainList, we have a very special guest, Dr. Prashant Kakoday from Cambridge. Dr. Prashant, good evening.
Good evening. Hello to Shai.
Hello. Hello. Dr. Prashant has background in E.N.T surgery and integrated health. He explores the connection between the psyche, emotions, behavior, and health. Dr. Prashant is an international speaker, and the subject of this evening project is the game of life. Later, we are going to be joined by our Q&A team, Dr. Retter and Dr. Scherf, whom I'm going to introduce a bit later. Good evening, Dr. Retter and Dr. Scherf. Hello.
Good evening.
Okay, good evening. So without further ado, Dr. Prashant, the stage is yours. Let us begin and enjoy the time.
Hello, and yes, I like this subject very much, the whole subject of consciousness and approaching it from different angles, the angles of science and spirituality. But first, I would like to touch this subject of truth. Even science is trying to understand the truth. And when we see this big map, what we realize is quite fascinating. We realize that our physical body and our senses cannot give us the truth. It can give us part of the information, and which is great, just like our telescope can give some information, and microscope gives some other information. In the same way, our body and senses give me information, but not enough. To know the complete truth, I have to go beyond all this. And to go beyond, as if we have to use our other faculties, which are not senses. We can use the word sixth sense. Our understanding is very important. Our reason is very important. Our intuition is very important. But then the experiences follow. When we are seeing from this bigger understanding, it becomes very clear that we ourselves are not physical. In other words, this entire physical world and our medical institution that is working on the body, but not the real me. A real me, I'm coming in this physical world and I have an exit. I leave this physical world and I have an existence beyond this physical world. Just once you understand this bigger map, then your positioning of the physical world is very different now. In fact, what happens is you understand that our ordinary, the impossible demands in this physical world, they have an answer, but not at a physical level. For example, no one wants to die here in this world. They really want to be immortal. And at a physical level, it is impossible to achieve that immortality. Everyone is leading a life, it's the life of a failure. They work so hard and then they die. When we see the bigger map, you realize that we are immortal. And this instinct for immortality comes because we have experienced it. And what has really happened to us when we are passing through this physical world, we have lost our perception. We have lost our sixth sense. And in other words, we can't even see ourselves. And when we can't see ourselves, we can't see our bigger map. This is a bigger problem, of our human beings and human consciousness. that we have dropped in this our ability to see our bigger truth. And then in this little physical world, we are trying to solve the answers which are impossible to attain. So this is the big, we get a map, as we said, let us see the bigger truth. And in this context, let us see where science fits in. And what science is doing and the limitations of science, they have to 100% rely upon the sense observation and sense experience. At least this is the dominant aspect of science, reductionist science. And even within the field of science, they say whole of the institution of science needs a revamp. And they say it will happen sooner than what we thought, because lots and lots of these experiences, which are put in a box called paranormal, they are fascinating experiences, very, very useful information. They're done by science methodology, but mainline science cannot use it because it doesn't fit in within that reductionist structure. So they say science needs revamping. But in our present structure of science and the limitations of science, we cannot know consciousness. We can sort of vaguely address the subject of consciousness, but consciousness, that is us. Here, those who are experiencing, they are the main ones. And it is everything in a sense. They are the main players experiencing everything else. And in our present state, we are as if questioning, do I exist? That is like a paradox within this model.
Yeah. Are we talking religion language? Are we talking mystical stuff? Or this is very something that we can experience down to earth?
Yes, one nice parallel in this, and it is not a religion, but let me give you an example of computer games. Those who are playing computer games, and these games continue for months, and it goes on. You can play it as if it becomes your life for some people. And for large majority, they enjoy and they are able to step back. But certain number of people, they are deceived by the computer game. And World Health Organization is using a term, diagnostic term, emotional disconnect because of gaming. The new term introduced by World Health Organization. So these are the people who are increasingly getting disconnected from their world, from their parents, from their life, and they are increasingly drawn into the computer world. So much so that they as if think that is their life. They have got titles there, they are very good at it, they have got success, and they are thinking of it, but they are lost in it. It is much more than just enjoying a game. They see that as their life, and they are disconnected from their real world. And in some cases, they are disconnected even from themselves, which means they don't even eat and they ignore the body, yet in different ways. So when you speak to some psychotherapist, you get sort of very absurd behavior patterns of these people. Now, what has happened to us? This emotional disconnect is not a new thing. We ourselves, the conscious, invisible us, we are the players, and we have come into this physical world. It is like a step back to another level. We come from our invisible dimension, into this physical world. And this physical world is very rich. It's a game, but it is very rich. It has got lots of glitter and gold and songs, and it increasingly draws us in. It draws us in until we have reached a level of emotional disconnect. We are disconnected from our own world, our true family, and everything of ours. We are disconnected even from ourselves. And we have created a false ego to take us through this game. Just like in the computer game, there is an avatar, and so here we have created an ego around this, and we are operating in this secondary world as if it is our main world. This is what has happened to the human race. This is what you can see. This is what is happening in the present, in this world, and how people get drawn into the secondary world. It is understanding when we see the bigger map, you sort of realize that this is what has happened to us. But the big uh, the problem within this situation, when we are lost, we reach a level where we don't know that we don't know. Just like if someone is asleep, that time he doesn't know that he's asleep. Someone is dreaming, at that time he doesn't know he's dreaming. When he wakes up, then he realizes that he was in the dream. So when we get drawn into this secondary world and there is emotional disconnect, and we are completely settled into the secondary world, into the game, thinking as if that is your life and that is your world. So this is the story of the human race, that we are lost into this, and we have got lots of problems, complaints, which we have no answers in this at this level. And there
Yeah.
are no answers because we are in an upside down position. And the insight in this, very important insight, is that we have the option to get ourselves right way up. And when we get ourselves right way up, then we realize our deep needs are addressed, because we got a world, we got an eternal world, we got a world of happiness, we got a world of peace. We are ourselves beyond harm. And then this secondary world, this entire physical world, it becomes like a game. You are seeing it in a right way, right attitude. It is a great game, but it is not our home.
Yeah. So maybe an obvious question is in the metaphor of the child that is got lost in the game, the mother can come and plug out the electricity and is back to reality. So what is the parallel for us? The plugging out of the electricity. How do we come to see the reality if we don't know, as you said? So this is maybe the obvious question here.
Yes. In this our journey, there is repeated different situations come, painful situations come, death comes, the loss comes. These are the kind of situations that force us to question. If the game is going well, you are all the time winning in this game, and all the time, everything is comfort, then we'll stay in the sweet dream. That doesn't, uh, inspire us to do anything about this. But when the problems come, they do. But we all human race and animals, we all learn through wisdom or through pain. Pain is not the only option, but we have the option to use our intelligence and question. This process of questioning itself is a very good beginning. Like right now, we are bringing this subject. What if this is the game? What if we are lost into this secondary world? Just this questioning, it has power to to come out of that comfort zone, and it has power to break out of that spell. What is shown in the film Matrix, it is a little bit like that, except that here it is the blue pill or red pill. In the film they choose one. Here the one will choose the pill that helps you break out, because the waking reality is sweeter than the sweetest dream. It is in the film, it is shown as if he wants to be in that matrix more than the waking reality. But anyone who has experienced the waking reality, it is a world of disbelief, and it is sweeter than anything that this physical world can offer to us.
Yeah. So maybe you can connect it to consciousness now, because is there any connection to the level of consciousness? Can we do something about it? Do we need to understand anything more about consciousness?
What happens is when we are in this spell of the secondary world, and so lost into the physical images, and that is all it has happened. They have lost the sense of the self even. We said when they are playing this computer game, there is emotional disconnect, disconnected from the family, disconnected from their real treasures, disconnected from their home, but they are disconnected from the self. So this is what has happened to this human race. They are disconnected from the self. They are totally, that physical body is all that exists. That is the way society thinks, not just the science, society. But science is also a product of that level. And so within that, consciousness has become like a little, the luxury to reflect on. Maybe there is some consciousness and we don't need to know about it. It may be there, but we are in the game. This is our life, and we may there may be consciousness, there may be not. What we are seeing here is that we have the need to discover the true self. It is not just an option of consciousness, but the true self itself. We have to reconnect with ourselves. It is far more than the vague subject of consciousness that many people talk about. And you realize that you, the conscious you, is the real player. That is the main thing. And that has become unconscious at the present time. And when he becomes conscious, he sees everything very differently. And like this right now, there is the role Prashant. Prashant is a part of this game. It is not that the true self realizes. It is Prashant is not the extension of him. It is not part of him. It is part of the game. He himself is different. But in our ego-based life, ego, we have given birth to that ego limited level in the game. That is absolutely projected on this body and role, and thinks that is me. So it does it. I hope it gives you an insight into where I come from. The consciousness subject. It is like the whole player himself is a consciousness.
Yeah. Well, I have to ask, a deeper question, maybe a flat one, from a scientific perspective. So what are the steps? Can you give me the steps? to become more conscious? Science is very simple in this perspective. You do the research, you get the result, you do it a few times, and you swoosh it as a good research. What is the way to do it? Can I ask how to do it? Is it a legitimate question at all?
Yeah, good. I will use the whiteboard, and that will help us build uh, this concept and the process you are talking of. So in this, what we are seeing, that if we were to see the physical world, I like to represent a box, it's image of a box to represent the entire physical world. Let me draw it again, this box. Make it a bit smarter.
Everyone is in this box, even Trump?
A whole world.
All the world. Okay.
Yes. So this represents our world, and what we are seeing here is that we are passing through this world. We are not part of it. We ourselves belong to a different world. That is our primary world. But in our physical level, when we are in the physical, this game, what we said, and there is a body, and there are many objects and props, and that is the drama that is going on. We are associated with it all. The conscious, let us use different color. The conscious player, what what we would like to know, the consciousness, conscious me. We are from this world. We are immortal, and just being immortal and being beyond harm, such is our truth. We being beyond harm, that changes our emotional state completely. In other words, there is no reason for sad, bad, and mad. These three departments, there is no reason for that. Any kind of sadness, any kind of unpleasant feelings, what remains is natural state of joy and love. So such is the life of every one of us. We come in the physical world. It's an extra experience. That if something is extra, it doesn't give you sorrow. And that's why it is a game. When anything is extra, it becomes a game. Spirit is a game. You are involved, you are playing with it, you finish it, you come out of it. What you were, you remain the same. And then you come back home. This is the way we saw when we had the sense and when we were conscious. When we are drawn into this computer game uh, and deceived in that computer world, we see it as a spiral downwards. Then we have lost this bigger map. We use the word sixth sense. The nice word for this, the word that is used in spiritual language is paras, or at least I like this word, paras. Just a word that means a spiritual intellect that can see the subtle, that can see the big map. Opposed to paras is stone intellect, where you can't see the big map. You are You are caught into pettiness. Everyone has paras and everyone has stone intellect also. But if paras is not used, it remains weak and the stone intellect dominates. So stone intellect is necessary for our emotional disconnect because stone intellect drops you in that petty small world, physical world, and as if you get locked in that, in your consciousness gets locked at that level.
Can we say that stone intellect is the ego?
Stone intellect supports ego. In that environment, then ego takes birth, and ego is absolutely supported because of the stone intellect. But for you asked how to come out of this. To come out of this, we need to make this paras stronger. It is as if we need the sight to see the bigger map, to see what is subtle, at least to get a sense of it, and to see the absurdity of living in this story world with such a passion, and all of that will become easy when we as if grow out of that uh, lower consciousness. So the paras has to be made stronger. The reason I have drawn this sketch, more I look at this sketch, it shows me the journey, shows me the bigger map, shows me the exit, that I have an exit. I come out of this game. There is the whole physical world appears small. And this is the most important thing for us. If that physical world appears everything, then we are into the stone intellect. So if I see there is a physical world, but that is part of our bigger journey, that we may be able to hold this attitude for half a minute, but that's fine. That makes the paras stronger, gives it little exercise. You practice it again for another half a minute. Each time we are using paras, it is becoming stronger. And if you make the paras strong, you win, because now you can see the obvious, and the game is different.
Yeah. When you use stone intellect, when you say intellect, it is actually consciousness, right? It is stone consciousness and paras consciousness. Can we say that?
Sure. The stone intellect is like something that helps us discriminate. It is like say a difference between children and adult. Children cannot understand certain things, and they may they may think they don't see the dangers, for example, because the intellect is different. Intellect is slightly different, a very specific function, discrimination. It can decide. It is with that meaning. And so paras, it has got understanding, and it's the function of the invisible player.
So if I understand correctly what you just show, uh, to be in the paras consciousness is to understand this map, this bigger picture. This is
Yeah,
what is going to make me understand better.
yeah. With paras, you are able to see the complete picture. In a paras, you can see immortality with paras. You can see what is subtle. You can see the big map. You are not just caught into something small. Say there is a car, giving an example. There's a car. And you can see the car, you can see the front of the car, you can see the road, you can see where the car is going to be parked. If I Ant who is kept on the car, Ant cannot even see the car as car. And there is some sticky sugar there. Ant will be just, its attention is on the sticky sugar. And at that level, it just cannot see that there is a car even. Leave aside the garage and what the function of the car is. It misses the point completely. So you can see that huge contrast that happens, between both are living beings. There is a human being, there is an ant. What is ant seeing? What the human being is seeing? Same happens here. When I am using the stone intellect, we go to like ant. We go to a lower level, and we can't see even the car for what it is. And we have the option to see the bigger map and then see the world for what it is. If it is a game, you can see it for what it is, and you can see the world beyond it.
So when you say the title of this evening is The Game of Life, it is basically the game of Paras consciousness. Can I say that?
Aras helps us, discover the game, because once you have seen the bigger map, the entire physical world, it appears like extra. It is not a place where we have to worry about survival, we have to worry about loss, because everything is addressed at another level. There is your home, and there is immortality, and through you're discovered. There is no emotional disconnect. And so this world, entire physical world, you feel it is like a game. Everything appears fun, and you are playing with it, playing the thing. You are going through this situation, your job or anything that you are doing, with the spirit of fun rather than feelings of desperation.
So no more worries, no more problems, no more wars in the world. Is it going to fix it?
Absolutely. When you are in that space, there is a love, because once your needs are addressed, you love. And like, for example, if there is a tiger, but tiger cannot harm you, it is in a cage, you love the tiger. It is in a cage, you know that it cannot harm you. You naturally love. Same thing happens with us when we are, conscious, when our higher consciousness, the true self is conscious. You realize that nothing can harm you. The game cannot harm you. You know of your immortality, and no human being can harm you. So you are absolutely ruled by feelings of love, and love comes with friends. It is not just love with happiness and contentment. Life is that. That's why we use the word disbelief. You are discovering your reality. And when you do come in the physical world and you see it as a game, and someone is playing against you in the game, you never get into the feeling of losing love. It's a game. Your friends are playing with you, and that is great. You win or you lose one round, and there is no compromise on your feelings of happiness or love when you are in that space. That certainly there is no reason, no flavor of anything inauspicious like worries or anger. Those feelings are not there.
Can we say, if I look at this bigger map, uh, can we say that all human beings are equal in this respect? Are they equal at all?
Yes, the greatest equality exists behind the game. You know, just like if someone, we can be all, from the same family, but making a drama, and someone is acting as a king, and someone is acting as a subject, and someone is acting as an enemy. We can make a drama. And then we come back home. We are not a king or a subject, or, we are friends. It is something like that. The greatest equality is in our home.
So if we would like to connect science and consciousness, which is our ChainList, a new ChainList thread, how does science, if at all, connect to this bigger map?
Because as was said before, science needs a revamp. Our present day science is limited. It is like a stone intellect science, because the whole society is at a stone intellect level, and science is also at that level, and bit like the ant with the sticky sugar there. You can keep analyzing that sticky sugar and keep analyzing that little things, but you are missing the whole point of that there is a car here and there is a society here and there are many things. You are missing that larger point in the process. So the present society is at that level, and so the science also is at that level. We need the shift of the consciousness first as a society, and with that, the shift of science. Science needs a revamp, but the revamp has to be at a different level altogether. As it will happen, but we may have to bring about, contribute to that with our change. More individuals bring about is change. Otherwise, it becomes a scholarly discussion in the anthill. But those when we come out of this anthill ourselves, discover the sky, discover the bigger reality, we are in a better position to understand consciousness, understand the potential, and in what way, we can be really useful to the human race.
So if I listen between the lines, there is science. It should be parasconsciousness science,
Yeah,
because we use science,
science,
right?
you can say. Yeah, absolutely. From stone science to paras science.
Okay, so there is science. Good. There is a connection between science and consciousness. Maybe it is a good time now to move on to our second part of the show. Um, I would like to introduce our Q&A team, Dr. Chef and Dr. Retter. Let me introduce those Q&A team. So Dr. Alon Retter has a PhD in physics, astronomy. He is the former CEO of Hamatara Emet, which is the Institute of Science and Consciousness in Israel. Currently, Dr. Retter is developing a new theory of gravity that adds consciousness to explain dark matter and energy. Also, joining us, Dr. Scherf. Dr. Scherf has PhD in cognitive psychology, specializing in Viktor Frankl's method, logotherapy. He is now the chairman of the content committee of the Science and Consciousness Institute in Israel, training in martial art of Aikido, chess, and Zen Buddhism. So it is lovely that you could join us. Dr. Prashant, please expect a tougher question now. Let us all enjoy the time. Guys, the stage is yours, please.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yes.
For interesting talk. I share a similar. But anyway, I would like to ask a very simple question in the beginning. Do you think that science can prove?
Dr. Retter, the sound is a bit muffled. Uh, there is a freeze screen. Oh, maybe now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. Sorry for the connection. I would like to ask a very simple question. Can you believe that science can prove the existence of consciousness?
Sure. As we were mentioning, so far, there is inherent limitation in our present structure of science, where the, they absolutely rely upon the sense observation, the sense experience. So this is like uh, a real block, for the true, the proof of that kind, at that level. Because we are talking about, we showed in our sketch that we drew earlier that there is, and we come into that physical world, we are not of that physical world. The invisible player, it comes in the physical world. And so at the physical level, there is no senses to experience the invisible. So that is a limitation at a present day science. But we need a revamp of science, and we will have to come to understand the reality at another level. Now, in the world of science, there are many people who talk about consciousness. They use the quantum physics language to speak about consciousness. But this becomes like a little bit ongoing, sort of language, which it doesn't get incorporated in the main science, mainline science, and that might not happen with the present limitations. Is the sound okay?
Yes, thank you. You were talking about the bigger truth and about two worlds. So, how did you reach this conclusion? What was the road that you walked in towards these conclusions?
It is like it is a spiritual model, and being open to the spiritual model that, okay, what if that is the way things are, and you start with that premise, and you play with these ideas, and what you discover is that everything falls in place when you are seeing from that perspective. You are now understanding the physical world for what it is, as if you are in this in uh, from upside down, you come in the right way up. It is a bit more like that. You discover a state of mind where there is literally no reason for pain. When there is pain, if I am in a physical posture which gives me pain gives a sign that it's a wrong posture. When I come to the change the posture, there's no pain. That is a sign that I am doing something right. So here, you discover a state of mind where there is no emotional pain. There is nothing inauspicious. And that's why, in that state, you are able to truly love, and love without any condition. There is no enemy for you. There is, you discover the state of contentment. You suddenly discover a world of disbelief and state of mind that you thought never is possible. And once you have experienced it, you realize, okay, now what has happened to us? You understand, all along I was in a upside down posture and did not even realize that and there was anything other option that time. It is with that coming experiencing. We said earlier, when we are in this space, when I am dreaming, and in that dream, I will not come to know that it is a dream. Only when I wake up, then I come to know it was a dream. We are in that space in our ordinary, our consciousness. We are in that space where there is a disconnect from reality. And from that space to know, we have to, as if, take steps to get ourselves out of that disconnect, come out of the dream. And even for a short time, you discover it, you now know that was a dream. Earlier, it was a dream that you come to know after having come out of the dream. But I can say that this is definitely the personal experience.
Okay, thank you. So you're saying that everything that we experience is a dream. So what is the task of dreams, the dreams themselves?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I just what is the task of the dream? Yeah. Yes, what happens is when I come out of that spell, I discover this whole physical reality, and it is an extra gift for us rather than desperation. This is as if I absolutely need the body. I absolutely need this of survival here. No, it becomes an extra gift. And when anything becomes extra, it becomes a game. Where what happens in any game? You have your life, you have your job, you have your family, everything is safe. And then you go in a game. Maybe for 1 hour, you play the game, and then you come back. And that game is you are playing, you are winning, you are losing, you are playing to win. All that is going on, but you enjoy it because it is extra. Same thing happens here. And this whole physical existence, you start seeing it as an extra gift. And so a game.
So the whole task of of life is to enjoy this game.
Yeah.
But what is the task of the dreams inside the dream?
Dream?
The dreams inside this dream.
Inside the dream, yes. Largely, it just shows us that that phenomena exists. I personally feel it has no purpose, as far as in my understanding, no big purpose within it. Most of the dreams are just random experiences that is happening. And if someone is not remembering dreams, doesn't he is not missing anything. There may be some details, some dream experts, sleep experts may say some processing is happening, and there may be some details of that level, but not in our understanding, not in my understanding.
Okay, so have you heard about astral projection? This is something that people can actually get out of the body. And they're saying that this happens to us during the dreams. And actually, when you do astral projection, you master the technique how to get out of the body. So actually, I think there is a purpose to the dreams. But anyway, it's a matter of another talk.
Yes.
Do you have an ego? You were talking about an ego. Do you have an ego? Have you lost it?
Here the word ego we use for the false ego. That is what we are seeing. That ego is created based upon this secondary world. If we are passing through that secondary world and define ourselves based upon things in that computer game. I have created ego there, and it is still there. What happens is there is an intention to remove the ego, but ego absolutely wants to survive. That is a game we will all experience. And so if you're asking personally about me, ego is still managing to survive. False ego. I want to remove it, but it is still there.
It's a long way to remove the ego, isn't it? You're talking about the idea that we are immortal. So what happens when you die, when your body really disappears?
Yeah. In this model that we see, that we have the home to start with, that some point we always will come back to our home. There is the real possibility if I can come at a physical level and play this game through one body, there is no reason why I can't play the role in another body. So that is a real possibility. But the player, continues to exist, and the player eventually comes back home.
So is there a soul?
Soul, yeah. This invisible player, the word we use for that is soul.
Okay. What do you think about all the idea of quantum mechanics, about the observer? Because what I've been trying to do during the past 17 years is to add the observer in order to understand dark matter and dark energy. So I'm adding the observer in order to explain why 95% of the universe is not understood to science. This is called dark matter and dark energy. So, and anyway, in quantum mechanics, they say, I mean, because once you check in an experiment, you check whether is a particle, you find out that it's indeed a particle. However, once you do the experiment and test whether it's a wave, you find out that it's a wave. So several scientists said that we should add the observer, and the observer means the singularity, the higher self, or God, or whatever you want to call it, or science, or consciousness. So what do you think about the observer in physics or in general?
Yeah, this when we are talking about the invisible player, and when you use the word soul, that invisible player is the experiencer. A whole experience anywhere in the universe. It doesn't happen in the level of matter. Matter hasn't got a property to experience. And same thing applies to the brain. Nerve cell hasn't got the property of experience. Experience happens only at the level of the invisible player. He's the one that is experiencer. In other words, he is the one who is observer. But experiencer at every level. Experience touch and experience sound, but also experience feelings, emotions, experience thoughts. That is whole function of experience is happening at that invisible level. We falsely attribute it to the physical body or even brain, but brain cells, nerve cells, all that we know is it is like wires, brings the messages through it. But do these cells experience? In our model, it is the invisible player, soul, that is the observer, and in a broader sense, experiencer.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's time for Ronnie to ask questions. Dr. Shai, please.
Thank you, Dr. Retter. It was very interesting to hear this very interesting conversation. I want to add that Dr. Retter and myself are a chess player. So when you are talking about games and about play, I think we can feel it in our heart. And my first question is about this subject. You know, I was used to teach in Tel Aviv University a course that's called Gamefulness. And it was a lot about the game in life and life in gaming. And I want to hear about your opinion. How can we mastering the gamefulness in life?
Yes. At the present time, for us to even see this as a game, we necessarily need to step out of this, the lower consciousness. A game exists only when you know you are safe, absolutely safe. So when this invisible player comes, reconnects, from this emotional disconnect, he wakes up and understands his world, that is secure and that is eternal. Remember the sketch that I had drawn earlier. Let me see if I can get that sketch again. So if we come to that, see that we are those players, invisible players, and that dimension is eternal dimension. We ourselves are immortal, and yeah, perfect. So this is that reality beyond, and we are reconnected from emotional disconnect, and we are now, when there is emotional disconnect, we are disconnected even from the self, and this is what happening in the smaller computer games. So here we were disconnected from the true self. Now you are reconnected to yourself. Then game starts, because now you're realizing that you are safe. Your world is safe. Your true family, everyone is safe and eternally safe. It is like, and they all are noble. When everyone is safe, natural nature of everyone, human and animal, is of love and happiness. And this is what happens here. You are discovering that. And now the physical world, this life, it becomes naturally a game for you. It becomes fun. You are not approaching it from desperation. Is that what you are asking? We
I
use
can understand.
when we use the word extra in the secondary world, it appears like an extra experience. It is not your, the desperation. You don't need anything there for your survival. You exist, your world exists, your family exists at another level. And now the physical world, life itself becomes a game. And as you are doing things, maybe job also, but the spirit is, it's a playing. You are in a game.
I want to ask about this game of life in our special period, also here in Israel, in this war period that we are into it. And also all over the world, well, it seemed as quite a chaos. And I want to hear about your opinion about the spiritual warrior of this period. How can we achieve a critical mass of spiritual warrior to change the world?
Yeah,
To play, skillfully this game, this unique game that we are in the middle of it.
yeah. The critical mass, that is a very nice term. And for this, all that I have, the option that I have is bring about change in me. Then this is the only option. And as was said earlier with the question before, do I have the ego? And this ego within us is absolutely our enemy. If there is an enemy for me, it is the ego that is created, false ego that is created in this physical world. And once I have given birth to that, it is stubborn. It wants to survive. It is going to declare a fight with me. I want to come out of this, spell. I want to come out of this matrix. I want to discover my game and discover my eternal truth and live in that. But this ego says, "What about me? I have given birth to this, so I can't just now run away." So this is the challenge that is there, but there is a method. At least we should know what are the challenges, and more we take steps to dissolve this ego, then I myself come out of this. So that is like a nice process for us. If one person comes out, then you are the real change rather than a scholarly understanding. Like right now we are talking about this, it is a discussion. But the time I create to experience this spiritual side, the time I create to use paras, during that time, I'm going up the spiral. That is deeper change is happening. And I am not supporting ego. I am as if supporting soul consciousness. Minutes, every minute counts in this. And as I am breaking that spell, this change, silent change, will inspire change in others. We often use the slogan, "One bird flies, second bird flies, the whole flock flies." So if there are few who bring about change in them, and that is all, you are very serious in a personal change, personal transformation. Without you speaking to anyone, you inspire a process of transformation in others.
In that regard, Viktor Frankl used to talk quite a lot about the meaning of the moment. He said, every moment in life has its meaning. We don't always, stop to check it, to think about it, to feel it. But every moment in life is asking us some questions. Can you say something about that?
Yes, every moment is like a gift. It is an opportunity for us, and one way to see it, especially in the context of critical mass. We sometimes use a story that is an eagle. Eagle thinks it is a chicken. That kind of a story. And now they all think they're chicken. That is the way life is going on. And they all want to become a good chicken. But if I create one moment where the eagle is conscious, and create another moment where the eagle is conscious, The perspective is from the eagle rather than the chicken. That is what nourishes the shift, promotes that shift. Just being the chicken, living in the present, but just a chicken living in the present, that will not create an eagle, but eagle remaining conscious, living in the present, but the eagle is conscious. That has a huge benefit.
Very interesting. And can you say something about your own journey, your own, let's say, hero journey to spirituality? A milestone and things like that. They got you deeper into the spirituality world.
Yes, sure. Uh, in
We have
the
another hour or two, so it's okay. Right, Gail?
yeah, the journey starts with like we really don't know even what we are looking for. Maybe some deep inside, intuitively, there was awareness. There's something higher which we need to find out, but you don't know. All we know normally are I can pass more exams and I can get more qualifications and bigger bigger rank. That is what is available. But one has to be lucky also, and I was lucky to come across right people and right opportunities. But your question, nice question. What are the special milestone? There was a time, we were in a gathering, yeah, and in the gathering, and one friend of ours, there were students, spiritual students in our circle in meditation gathering. And this friend said, "What should we see ourselves in third person?" That word was used. Should we see ourselves in third person? And that particular time, the moment was so right for me because I myself had some questions inside. And that word third person, it was the absolute answer to my riddle. And what it meant, I need to see Prashant in third person. Instead of using the word I, that was, and that's why the language became Prashant rather than I, because the real I is that invisible player who has to be made conscious, and the ego was the one who was projecting on Prashant, I. And this was like a important milestone for me uh, in the spiritual journey to step out in a silently. And it is not that much in the language. In the language, the word I is our language. Try to avoid it as much as possible. But in the attitude, I was able to distance from Prashant, at least not drum it further. This I, ego-based I, further, and that was a huge help to open the experiences of the dimension beyond.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this very interesting conversation. I see the clock. I think we are at the end of the conversation. Yael, Shai.
Yes, so we are coming to the end of this program. Prashant, I can see the map. I would like to see Prashant if that is an option. Anyway, we are coming. Can you hear Shai, Prashant?
I was saying map of the chicken and the eagle.
Okay, so we are coming to the end of the program. Thank you very much, Dr. Retter and Dr. Scherf. Maybe I will finalize another question, if that's okay, even according to the time, just to see that I understand, Prashant, what you introduce in this first chain list. You are saying start or begin with the what if question, then try to jump to some kind of, as you said, everything fall in place. Then you say that the experience becomes as an authority, and then this authority is fighting the ego. Is it some kind of a good summary?
Yeah, very, very clear. Very good.
Yeah.
And one thing, if I am to add to it, to know that when we are in this state where we don't know that we don't know, that expression was used by Plato. So we are in that double lock where when I'm in the dream, in that state, I do not know I'm in a dream. It appears totally real. Only when I wake up, then I realize I'm in a dream. So the premise here is that human society is in that state of double lock. They don't know that they don't know. They are in that state. And in that state, the best thing we can do is remain open. What if I'm in a dream, and is there a reality beyond? It will never deceive them if they remain open. To remain closed is the worst thing, because then there is no chance of coming out of that dream. And when we are in that dream state, we are not really useful to others. We are not useful to ourselves. We think we are doing something good, but we are not really useful to ourselves. When we wake up, we realize we have wasted our time.
Yes, thank you. So before thanking our special guest, let me just remind you all that this is the first chain list of science and consciousness in our broader Story 555 project. And as always, Prashant, the main guest, is going to choose and invite the next guest for the next show. This is you, Prashant. And I would like to thank our special Q&A team, Dr. Retter and Dr. Scherf. Would you like to add anything? Any last thoughts? Okay. Dr. Retter, please. Dr. Scherf.
I just want to thank Prashant and all of you for this interesting talk, and I hope to see you again in the future.
And I want to add that I found a friend in the gamefulness world, and it's always nice to find players in this unique world.
Thank you. So, and thank you, and very, very special thanks to Dr. Prashant Kakoday from Cambridge. Any last thoughts, Dr. Prashant?
Nice that we had this opportunity to meet. Thank you for invitation, and let us continue with the game. Enjoy the game. Play the game.
Enjoy the game. Yes, this is a good wishes to all of us. We hope for those who were joining us today, you enjoyed the time as we did. So best wishes to everyone. And as we say in this chain list program, see you on the next bid of the show. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.